Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, but only kind of. This is a brew challenge from Patreon subscriber Abe. Abe wanted me to put Fire Design to the test and play a Legacy League using only cards from the Modern card pool. The exceptions to the rule were I can play the original dual lands and I'm not beholden to the Modern ban list. As long as the card was ever printed in the Modern frame, I can use it. This one was kind of a lot of fun to work on, and this was not my first draft. I actually started here with Splinter Twin, with a little Uro action, but I realized that this deck is not really fulfilling the brief in a way that I was excited about. This is a powerful deck from Modern's past. It's a lot of fun. We can update some old cards with Counterspell. We get Ponder and Preordain, which this deck did not have access to when it was live. But other than Uro, this deck isn't really flexing Fire Design, which is, after building that deck, I switched over to this deck, which is MH2 Incarnate. We've got Omnath, Locus of Creation at the center of this. If you've played Modern at all in the last couple of years, you know all about this deck. You probably are sick and tired of it. Omnath, Locus of Creation, red, green, white, blue, 4/4, ETB, draw a card. When you play a land, you gain 4 life. If it's the second time this ability has resolved, add red, green, white, blue. If it's the third time, Omnath deals 4 to your opponent and each planeswalker you don't control. A lot of text on that one. Omnath supported by 4 Solitude, 3 Fury, 2 Endurance. The whole elemental squad is here. 4 Uro is a big upgrade that this deck does not get in Modern, but is still a Modern printed card. Hard to believe Uro and Omnath were going to be in the same standard format. They both ended up banned separately before they ever met, but each one caused a lot of havoc in their time they were legal, and they were going to overlap. But here they are overlapping finally. The team up we really needed. Uro and Omnath versus Phyrexia. I went hard on Uro because this is a Legacy power level card. It's an engine on its own, and it's something the Modern deck just doesn't get, so I wanted to see it come up often. Removal in the deck. Prismatic Ending is a Modern card. Swords to Plowshares is not. Leyline Binding is the removal spell you get. Lightning Bolt works in the format. We're good for that. As far as counterspells, I decided to go kind of light and let the sideboard do the heavy lifting. In brewing with this deck, what it would take to have a good main deck combo matchup is basically impossible while still playing the deck. So I'm just going to let the sideboard do all that work and hope for fair matchups, which is a tried and true strategy in the MTGO leagues, let me tell you. But I have 2 Flusterstorms and 1 Mystical Dispute in the main for counterspells. Rest Down and Endurance have other axes of interaction. The Fairy Time Raveler is also a Legacy card. We're playing the full boat of this one. And although I am not beholden to the Modern ban list, I am beholden to the Legacy ban list, which means we don't get to play Wrenn and 6, which is an integral part of this Modern deck. I have 1 Light from the Loam to go with the 4 Uros. I'm going to try to do a Wrenn and 6 impression with both extra land drops, extra cards, and then picking them up in the late game. This deck is super soft to Karakas. Many of my primary win conditions are legends. There are also things like Urza Saga and Dark Depths in the format. I don't get Wasteland, but I do get Ghost Quarter. It's not as good, but hopefully it fills the role as much as it needs to. And the sideboard, like I said, is just a pile of hate for combo. We got a few more counter spells here. This is the closest thing to Pyroblast we're allowed to play. Mystical Dispute, Deafening Silence, legal. Flusterstorm, legal. Surgical Extraction, Brotherhood's End for the artifact decks. Force of Vigor for mostly for Blood Moon, but we'd also bring it in against artifact decks. The other two endurances that are not in the main for the graveyard decks, also solid against Delver and Collector Oof for both combo and 8-cast Painter sort of fair artifact decks. More fair, Painter's still a combo deck. But like Lion's Eye Diamond specifically is on my mind. Then we also get to turn off artifact lands with Collector Oof. This is the deck I am choosing to play today. Only time will tell if it can hold up. I think we're going to be solid to even possibly advantaged in any sort of fair blue grindy situation. Omnath is just a level above a lot of what legacy decks are built to do on a fair axis. I mean, unfair decks are just going to run us over, but if you're in that sort of like fairy mastermind, Staff of the Storyteller, Narset Parter Veils space, Omnath could just go to town. Or like Maverick, Death and Taxes. I don't know. We'll see how this shakes out. We are going to lose every game one to combo decks, but we're pretty solid against fair decks. And we got a sideboard plan. We are playing Magic's second most powerful format with cards legal in a less powerful format. So we have some hurdles to jump through no matter what we do here. But this is how I've chosen to do it. Let's do this thing. This is Abe's Modern and Legacy Omnath. I'm on the play in round one. I am in trouble to a Wasteland, but I mean, look at this deck we've registered. I can Solitude something, I can Prismatic Ending something, I can Bridge into Teferi with Dress Down. I've got options here. We just need to hope that the opponent plays nice just a little bit. I am going to lead on Tropical Island. I actually think Savannah is more important if I'm going to get wasted because I see this Prismatic Ending right here. Great. The Wasteland into play and waiting until my upkeep to use it. Deeply insulting. Fine. It's no longer fine. I'm worried. The land count in this deck is much higher than any legacy deck other than actual lands. There are 25 of them in here. I'm hoping that holds up. As soon as we find Loam, we're stable. God, we're against the dedicated actual freaking lands. With our deck that is Ice Cold to Wasteland. Love to see it. I need a land right now to have any chance in this game. Uh-oh. I can at least remove the Exploration, but if they have a Loam, we lose. It's just over. Thespian Stage is not Life from the Loam or Wasteland. Come on, deck, help me out. Let's just start to work through this. I hate you, deck. Copying Basic Forest with Thespian Stage, okay. Like I play Wasteland. Okay, I am prepared to concede to Life from the Loam because I don't have Endurance available to stop this, and basically every land in my deck is non-basic. Okay, disappointing start, but an important thing happened in that game, which is generally legacy decks rely on their cantrip suite as part of their mana base, and I'm not allowed to play those cantrips because they're not in Modern. So when you keep a two-lander, it really is up to the top of your deck to deliver the third one. And I do play 25 lands, which is way more than most legacy decks. Even control decks only play 20, maybe 21 if they're pushing it. So a little awkward there. But obviously running into a Wasteland deck in the first round is Poetic Justice, because that's a card that does not exist in Modern. And it is a card that would keep this BS firmly in check in Modern. Okay, so they are a graveyard deck that also has an Urza Saga plan and also contains Merit Lage. I think Lightning Bolt is my easy cut. Potential for the Dress Downs. And Fury doesn't do a lot here. Teferi doesn't do a lot either. Teferi might actually be worse than Fury. It's close. I'll leave one Teferi in. Flusterstorm can hit stuff like Life from the Loam, Crop Rotation. They have Pyroblasts. I don't want more of them, but I'm fine with the two that are in there. Here we go. I am an Uro Loam deck with a high land count. That getting wasted out of the game like that. I also have a respectable spread of basics. That's not going to happen every time. I play my Heath and pass the turn. Probably not going to fetch here. I'd love to get a Triome and turn on Leyline Binding, but I don't know that I have that luxury against the Wasteland deck. Forest go is what they said. A basic land, a green card to pitch to Endurance. Fox Diamond resolves. Discarding a Saga. Don't love that. They're casting Loam here. This is fine. I'm going to give myself a chance to draw a green source and cast Endurance rather than pitch to it. It's hoping for the best here. Always punished. What a beating. 25 lands. Is, multiple draw steps. Can't find the third one. I'm not going to fight over this Loam right away. They have not indicated that they're really doing anything to use it. Oh, Jesus. This card is not beatable, though. That's not true. I have Leyline Binding. Okay. Can I cast Binding now? No. I can fetch a Triome, which can get me up to 3 land types. Both of the Triomes in the deck are white. Or no, Indatha is Bug. Is that how this works? No, Indatha is Abzan. That's what I thought. Both of the Triomes are white, because white is a base color. I would rather have access to green here, even though the black is not helpful. But I do need to work on my green. Another Endurance, perfect. This still doesn't get here. Oh my god. Alright. This experiment failed. This was a horrible matchup, and we ran pretty bad. Just 0 for 2 there. Let's get into another match and see if we can do better. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. I'm on the draw for round 2 with another one of these 2-landers, which have proven to be a trap so far. But I'm on the draw, and I do have 1 mana interaction and 2 mana interaction in my hand. Mobile Hierarch. This could be some Bant Blade deck, or it could be Infect. Luckily, my ending lines up well. Please don't have Wasteland. You can have Daze. I wouldn't even be mad at you. Don't have Wasteland to go with it. Brainstorm. I say all the time on this channel how the cantrips are part of the Legacy mana base. You play a lower land count because you can count on your 1 mana spells to find lands if you need them. And I thought that 25 would be enough to make this work. But losing Wrenn and 6 from the modern build, maybe I needed to be heavier on Loams in this build. And we'll see if this shakes out. Like maybe I'll find a 3rd land at some point and cast Uro or Teferi and have a shot. But that does need to happen. Or Hierarch. Don't really want to spend Leyline Binding on this. I hope they play a Glistener Elf or something I'm happy to remove here. They also have a Savannah and a Zenith. Okay, so we're Maverick. Or is this some Atraxa deck? Leyline Binding is non-land permanent. I can't get Dryad Arbor with this. I am going to bind the Hierarch, because if I hit the land for Teferi, bouncing Dryad Arbor is a huge tempo play. They did just miss a land drop. If they counter this, I have Prismatic Ending. Okay, land drop, please. Oh my god. I guess I just pass here. I don't like them having Dryad Arbor. If they natural order, I can zap the Atraxa with Solitude. Fairy Time Raveler. Not a card I'm excited to play against. But there it is. Too late to Solitude the Arbor now. Bouncing my thing, getting their Hierarch back. Just move Binding on it to Fairy then. Got another Solitude. Force of Will my Leyline Binding. Gonna Solitude pitching Omnath to take out this Noble Hierarch. I feel like they're on the verge of a natural order or some big payoff. In which case, going again. That's what I think is happening. Then I just want to collapse their functionality here. Obviously this sucks, and we're 11 cards into our 25 land deck without finding a third land. Better than 1 and 3 cards in my deck is a land. Right directly in between 1 and 3 and 1 and 2 cards in my deck is a land. Just cannot have them. Found a land. Not shuffle or ponder. Jeez, deck. Okay, 12 cards into my deck mathematically should be 4 to 6 lands. Just saying. This is built on reasonable foundations of probability, and we're hitting the opposite. Give a Zenith for 1 now. Finding my land for Teferi is still good, even after all this. Oh my god. We're in there. This, I think, gets Tropical Island. That gives me green. And any untapped land gets me Teferi, which is what I'm doing here. Let's count greens versus blues for Uro, because that's my next stop. I do have basic forest, I don't have basic island. There's 2 untapped blue sources left in the deck. There's 2 untapped green sources. Okay, I'm going to get the Tropical Island. Very bounce, noble hierarch. Now things are happening. Let's go. Hierarch's back. Is it bringing any friends? Another Solitude. I'm going to plus my Teferi and then play my other one and bounce this Hierarch. I still feel like we're just playing whack-a-mole around a natural order here. And I'm going to try really hard not to get my mole whacked. Bounce the Hierarch. I can remove their Teferi or kill their Hierarch for real. It'll be interesting to see if they just draw a card here, or if they save this for some type of permanent. Hierarch's in. They are plussing Teferi still. Still dispute, fascinating. Plus my Teferi. And now I have motivation to fight their Teferi, because I actually have one of the very small number of counterspells in my deck. If they just shove natural order here, congrats, you did it. I think clearing Teferi is going to be a step. And I am holding Solitude. A white card clears Atraxa. There's something resembling a plan forming here. Yeah, there's a Bayou. This is 100% an Atraxa deck. Here to be tapping 4 mana. Oh, they changed their mind. They want to attack Teferi first? What are we doing here? Oh, you're ending my Teferi. Sure. I appreciate the restraint. Now I have an actual chance to beat a natural order. Oh, Lightning Bolt. What's up? That's a really good card. Bolt your Hierarch. Floating blue. Ice Fang Coatl. Countering this denies them a card draw and denies them a green creature for natural order. And I can't counter natural order because it's a green spell and I only have 2 mana. That was the spot for that fight. Well, nuts. The initiative is not something a modern deck is prepared to battle. There's land number 5. Now they're just going nuts. Dress down. That's the card that would have worked if any card was ever going to work. Now I have some choices here. I think what I need to do is dress down. This creature has vigilance. What am I even hoping for here? I was going to say I could dress down on their turn, pitch cast Endurance, and I get to keep it. But if I'm going to do that, I can just cast Endurance. If I get this Endurance into play, and then Solitude their creature out of the way, there's a chance. Not a good one, but it's there. We're now 20 cards into my deck, by the way, and have seen 3 lands. Just keeping count for anyone who's interested at home. I'm going to take the 3 because I don't think that's important. I'd rather operate exclusively on their end step. Like, if they natural order here, I will dress down the Atraxa. Wrist. Wrist is annoying, but there it is. Made a bug. Guess this Endurance. This is what I've been waiting my whole life to do. Get rid of my opponent's graveyard. There's a good chance they're an Uro deck. Omnath. What a wise guy. Omnath is a white card I could pitch to Solitude. Could force them into chump mode. Guess we gotta do this. Pitch cast Solitude, removing Undermountain Adventurer, attack my opponent's life points. They want to block, see if they have a Coatl for the blowout. Exile Undermountain Adventurer. Floating green. That is a thing this card does. Do have the Coatl. It does not have Death Touch. Attack my opponent. Take the easy block, as you do. And I should probably Uro here. Dress down is not irrelevant, but getting a card deeper, finally hitting this land drop, any of these things could go a long way here. Found a land. Fortunately, I've already pitched 2 of my 3 Omnaths to other things. They work their way through the initiative dungeon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They can cast Atraxa right now. Maybe the way to attack the legacy format with modern legal cards, rather than trying to update an existing modern deck, is just shove something that plays on a legacy axis into the format. Like, I wonder if Mono Blue Delver with just a bunch of Spell Pierces and Flusterstorms in the main deck might hold up better. Just try to engage with Legacy on the speed where Legacy happens. Not that I've already written off this entire experiment or anything. They're not casting Atraxa, but they are getting her. Unless they have Progenitus or something better to get. But Atraxa seems like the likely one. There it is. Oh, they are a Wasteland deck. After all this, the card is in there. They can put Force Blue card in their hand with Teferi. Okay. We're good here. We cannot beat this from this position. It did take them 12 turns to get anything going, at which point I missed 9 land drops. Noted. A Dress Down, Mystical Dispute all seem solid here, or at least as good as it's going to get. Endurance is fine. I don't think I want Surgical. Lightning Bolt does line up well against Teferi. Fury against their creature deck, I like it. My own Teferis are kind of medium, actually. I'm going to cut my Teferis, and I'm holding out hope for Omnath. I won't give up on him. Fury is how we win a game, if we ever win a game. Maybe 3 is too many of that card, though. Though I do think it's good against their deck. Maybe the struggle is real here. A Binding, perhaps? Okay, let's go. 3 lands in my opening hand. I'm in. 3 lands and 2 5-drops. Exactly what you want in your Legacy deck. Getting on the Triome, I'm really hoping that they're like a 1 Wasteland deck and they have no way to recur it. And it just doesn't come up. I've got Lightning Bolt and Prismatic Ending here, both of which are going to line up well against whatever they do right now. And I am going to Ending it. Lightning Bolt's instant speed ability. Pretty solid if they follow up with another Mana Dork here, where they can pass the turn. It's also fine. Mystical Dispute, cool. This feels way better when I'm actually functioning on 3 mana. I do, of course, recognize that my hand is now full of 5-drops, and I need 2 more lands to make this happen. Perhaps I should be on 2 or 3 Loams. Or I should be playing Icefang Coatls of my own. I feel like to keep up with Legacy, and especially without Wrenn and 6 in the deck, I either need to be playing more lands than I am, or more ways to find them early. I was sure 25 would be fine, especially with multiple ways, like 4 Teferi, 4 Uro to start digging once you hit 3. But 3 doesn't come for free, and if they Wasteland, then it just sets you back so far. Uro's fine. I'm ready for that one. I was ready for that one. Alright, I'm going to float a white. This is a shame because now I have to fetch a green source, which is going to leave 1 color unrepresented. It has to be Tropical Island, I think, because there are blue cards in my hand. Okay, Endurance. Take out this Uro. Let the beatdown begin. I drew a spell I can't cast. Perfect. Okay, so I need my pitch elementals, my conditional counterspell, and my removal spell I can't cast. Get me 20 points here. I already got 3. I need them to mess up. Do something like cast Undermountain Adventure and introduce the initiative, then die to my Solitude. That certainly is a removal spell that works. Light from the Loam, off the top. I'll take a land. I'm not ready to fight over a Brainstorm. That's just... like, I'm not pushing the advantage at all. it's unlikely that in 3 turns I'm going to do anything meaningful. So they're just going to see all the same brainstorm cards over that period of time. And knowing their deck has a combo payoff and things like the initiative in it, holding up the 1 counterspell my deck has access to seems like the way. Ponder. Post brainstorm ponders tend to shuffle. He did not shuffle. Now I have a choice to fetch my Indothid Triome here or just leave lands in my deck. I'm going to leave lands in my deck. Ordered. We're almost there, team. We can almost cast a spell. You have Endurance. Okay. That resolves. Put those lands back in my deck for me, please. Sweet. Okay, there's 2 more lands now that are on the bottom of my deck. So if I fetch, it removes 1 total land from my deck, but shuffles 2 lands into my deck. I'm going to fetch the Indothid Triome. Or I guess now that Rockrin Triome's back in my deck, that one might be better. Fairy Time Rattler. Dispute this mystically. On the last opportunity to do so. I guess I am going to fetch Rockrin Triome. It gives me blue, blue, green, green. Double white. Double red. Yeah, that's the correct one. My god. Casting Fury. Proper modern game plan is unrolling here. Light up the Endurance. MH2 on MH2 Crime. They're going to fetch Dryad Arbor here. I don't think I send Solitude at this. This does represent Natural Order. If I'm gonna tangle with a Natural Order, I guess I'd rather do this now. I should have done this end step and thought about it more. They can hardcast Force if they want. But if they slam Natural Order, I could Solitude the Atraxa, but then they gain 7 and draw a bunch of cards. Like I gotta push my luck here. If Natural Order's in their hand, it's a spell that sucks right now. Burrow, that's a spell that's good. I do have white removal in my deck if I can find it. Mystical Dispute on this Uro is a big deal. For 6, put them to 14. Disputing Uro takes all the spells out of their graveyard. Or all the cards out of their graveyard. They're not going to have another Dryad Arbor. Stop it. Don't believe you. Could have a snake, though. I am going to bolt the snake for the same reason I solituded the Arbor. Now I'm even less prepared for an Atraxa than I was last turn. Here's an Uro that cannot escape again next turn. I am all in here. Storm in response. They're looking for Force Blue card. That is +1 card for Uro next turn. Now a fetch land just gets it back on the stack. Okay, Uro's in the graveyard for the time being. Wasteland. I am mercifully at a point where I have lands. Unfortunately, the Wasteland is card number 5 for Uro. They're just right back in business here if I don't draw an Endurance. Solitude, so close to being relevant here. That Wasteland was a good one after all, it turns out. Uro's back. Exactly enough cards in the graveyard to get rid of. If I draw an untapped white source, I can remove this thing and continue the beatdown. Oh. Well, red, blue, white, green. Let's draw a fetch land off this Omnath trigger. Fetch land. My god, we're doing it. Full actual Omnath BS. Fetch my basic planes here. Or, I don't care about that. I'm going to get... I have enough green. I'll get Plateau. Just has to be a white source to cast Solitude with. Now it feels like we're modern gaming. Get rid of this Uro. Go to 16, but I get to put them back to 10. Okay. We did the modern thing at least once in this league. Omnath has shown up big. Please don't cast Supreme Verdict or Atraxa. Zenith for 1. This makes a creature that they can then natural order into Atraxa. We're going to end up a little short here. I'm not even mad. We did the thing. They can put Force Blue card in their hand here and just protect Atraxa for a turn. This is all they need to do. They kept Teferi, Hierarch, Force and Wasteland. Not allowed to put Karakas in my deck. And they're about to untap with Force. I can't possibly race this Atraxa. Vigilance and Lifelink. And 7 is bigger than all my stuff. We made a game out of it. I tried, folks. On to the next one.
You come here to level up at Magic.
To level up as a software engineer, check out the new YouTube series Dev Better, hosted by the founder of 7Factor Software and Magic player, Jeremy Duvall. 7Factor's small teams of high-performing engineers build custom mobile apps, APIs, and highly scalable systems for Fortune 500 companies and ambitious startups with great ideas. If you'd like to hire 7Factor, or maybe join their team, contact them through their website at 7factor.io. And don't forget to subscribe to 7Factor's YouTube for every episode of Dev Better. I'm on the play for round 3. No lander. This is becoming just the universe kicking me in the ass while I'm down. Mulligan again. Okay, I will keep a 5-lander every single time. I'll put Volcanic Island on the bottom, and that is going to be my important 5th land that I won't have when it's time. Opponent's also on 6. Let's game. Bloodstainmire, okay. Briefed. Alright. Exhume is off the table now. I'm not going to pitch cast Solitude to exile the Grief. Just don't think that's the way to go here. If we're dead, we're dead. They pitched Exhume to Grief. Disappointing. Tomb. Grizzlebrand. Okay, so if I draw a white card, I can at least answer Grizzlebrand. I'm going to fetch for Indatha Triome. Or let's see, Rockrin. What finishes that? Bayou. That's not a card in my deck. Indatha plus Volk is all colors. I will get the Indatha. Okay. I'll play the land that can fetch Volcanic Island if I need that. Not that this is really a solution to Grizzlebrand. They just draw their deck and make a second monster. I'm not going to die immediately. Animate Dead, this works. I'm going to let them just kind of go off for a minute. I'll respond to the first discard spell. That's down to 11. Thoughtseize, targeting me. It's time to Solitude. Going to 4 in response. They'll go back up to 10 at the end of this, and their 14-card hand, if it can't make a monster right now, it probably will be able to after it goes to discard at the end of this turn. I guess they'll be at 8 after Thoughtseize resolves, which is convenient for reanimate considerations, because a lot of their creatures do cost 8. Bonus Petal. We're just going again right now. Don't worry about it. They need an Atraxa, though. An Atraxa or a Ceres Emissary, because Archon of Cruelty and Grizzlebrand both cost 8. Exhume is mostly off because I just return a Solitude and kill whatever they put in. I'm going to fetch for the other Triome here. And I'm going to draw one of my 2 Endurances off the top and take a Victory Lap. That's my plan. Discarded 2 Exhumes. There's only 1 left in their whole deck. I did draw a Counterspell, which is not a thing I play a lot of. Saying there's a chance. Both of the monsters in their graveyard, other than the Grief, are 8 drops. Faithless Looting resolves. They even chose the good art. Unmask, targeting me. Yes, I Mystical Dispute this. They know my last card if they've been paying attention. Yeah, they just have another Animate Dead here. Current business. Oh, you're reanimating a Grizzlebrand at 8 life? Scoreboard. GG! Cool. I can't imagine they were just goofing around for the camera, because like they were genuinely miles ahead in that game. I am not going to argue, though. They said I am an idiot in the chat. Okay, play to your outs. I do, fortunately, have a pretty stacked sideboard for this sort of thing. Lightning Bolt, not great. Fury, not great. Life from the Loam, pretty slow, but I don't know if that card's actually cuttable, based on how every single round has gone. It's also a green card for my 4 Endurances. Teferi is medium. Omnath pitches to everything. Prismatic Ending's pretty bad. It can hit and animate dead, but it will have already animated something and gotten whatever value they get. Yeah, I'm not trying to play that game. Deafening Silence can slow them down on those like crazy rip turns. Probably still better than Prismatic Ending. I have Beseiju in my deck and Force of Vigor to fight animate deads at instant speed, which is when I need to fight those. Uro or Teferi? I think it's Uro. Teferi actually can remove a thing from play. So neither is particularly good in the matchup. Okay, 12 sideboard cards. Please do the thing. Okay, I have Solitude and Endurance. I'll keep, whatever. It has 0 mana interaction in my deck that plays very little of that. I didn't see an Endurance game 1. They're about to see an Endurance now. They took Solitude over Endurance. Okay, so are they on some kind of juke then? Are they going to Shouldred me? Are they going to dot the Voidwalker? There's even initiative builds of Reanimator now. They could be, take the initiative next turn. Hope that doesn't happen. Absolutely not ready for that. Another Grief. Well, I hope they were planning to take the Endurance this turn, because I have another one now. Oh, still fighting over Solitudes. This all makes sense if they're on Show and Tell. Dark Ritual. Voidwalker it is. The thing is going to go coast to coast if I don't get this to Fairy down quickly. Omnath does not help. I did keep a 1-lander, and I accept responsibility for that. But also, like, come on. Alright, there's one. We're getting there. I do have answers in my deck to this Voidwalker. There's 2 more Solitudes. There are the 2 Leyline Bindings. If I leave those both in, I can't imagine I would have cut them. They're good. My bolts and endings are all out, though. Oh my goodness, land number 3. Something resembling a plan. Uh-oh. Underground Sea. Lining up for a Show and Tell here. Show and Tell it is. I will put in Omnath. Get Grizzlebrand. I draw a card. How deep do you want to go here? Those are pretty good last 2 cards to have in your hand. Petal. Lotus Petal. If they're not careful, they could die to Omnath here. Griefing me. Magic Greek will take to Fairy here. Dark Ritual. Another Show and Tell. I'm going to put in an Uro here. Okay, their Archon triggers first, unfortunately. Gain 3 life. Draw a counterspell. I can put them to 1 right now, but then they go right back up to 3. Yeah, if they went 1 life point deeper somewhere in this game. So I could play Endurance here. I could put them to 1, play Endurance, and maybe kill them with Uro next turn. Because I get a Boat of Mana here. Can cast Endurance. I'm going to target myself. Get these Solitudes back in the mix. So I am going to fetch again and put them to 1. Then Uro dies. Then Archon takes out Endurance, and it's too late for Mystical Dispute. You had your chance. They're going to be at 4. If I can play 3 lands next turn, if I draw a fetch land and then cast the front half of Uro and hit another fetch land, I can win this game. Or if they reanimate something now, animate dead. Son of a biscuit. What a world it would have been if they had reanimated to die twice in a game, twice in a match. If they strip Uro here, then I don't think I can win anymore. But they took Endurance. Okay. My out is still alive. Do have to fetch to put the 4 damage on them. Then runner, fetch lands from here. Anything that matters here. I have double white, have double green. Lightning Bolt's not in my deck. So I'll take the Tropical Island. Go 4 to my opponent. Alright, fetch land off the top, and then fetch land off the top. Runners. I'll at least play Uro and put the fear into my opponent that they could still lose this game. Uro, trigger. Oh my god, that's so close. 1 away. Now I can cast Surgical and see their deck, or I can hide the fact that I play Surgical Extraction, and they could probably guess it, but I don't need to show them this Potentate card. I think I know what's in their deck. I have a pretty good idea. Okay, so Lightning Bolts line up against the Voidwalker. The Fairy is kind of mid, and I don't think Especially if they're bringing in Voidwalkers, I don't think this Loam is where I'm going to be with my life. Okay, I can go face with Lightning Bolt, or I can pick off Dothy Voidwalker on the juke. I will keep this handful of cards. Swept Teeth, go. It's going to get a blue source if I need to Flusterstorm, and it can get a Dotha Triumph to set up the Leyline Binding. On opposition agent me. Dotha Triumph with Volcanic Island to Leyline Binding and Flusterstorm this turn. Oh, I should have used Flooded Strand. There is a basic forest in my deck that I may or may not want access to at some point. Okay. I am not going to fetch if they don't make me. Yeah. I think I'd rather play the fetch land. Might regret that later if we get into another tight Omnath situation. Seeing some fetch land cracks at the end of my turn. And just go into their turn. Okay. I will continue hanging out. I could fetch Rockran Triumph now. I guess I'll just do that. There's some interest in leaving it in the deck in case I draw it, because I'm good on lands, I can cycle it. Endurance, hello. Okay. Pieces are coming together here. I have two things that can blow out a show and tell in Leyline Binding and Solitude. That is, if it even resolves with the Flusterstorm. Dark Ritual resolves. They start hard casting Griefs, that's actually pretty rough. Unmasking me. So I have to fluster this. Good Dark Ritual to pay. It's annoying. If I had bolted them, this isn't a thing. Okay, I will let them pay for the Flusterstorm. And then they're out of mana for the turn. Yeah, I guess I was supposed to bolt them, but okay, you can unmask me. I don't want to just flash an Endurance and start attacking, and then they get to go through the graveyard for uncontested. Not even anything in the graveyard. Took Binding. Okay. They have Underground Sea now. Rest Down is pretty sweet. Okay, pass the turn. Lotus Petal. Storm's 1. For hard casting Grief, they don't know that I just drew Dress Down, which combined with the bolt answers this cleanly. You get a Grief, and I get a target for Lightning Bolt. And that's a thing they could reanimate, but then that turns on my Endurance. That's fine. Omnath is a pretty good draw here. Volcanic Island's in play. Okay. I have some semblance of a plan against Show and Tell, and I have a pretty good plan against Reanimate. Well, they know I have Solitude, so they have some sort of plan here. Here's my Solitude. Well, exile your Archon. And I believe I would still rather have Endurance in my hand than Solitude in play. Sacrifice Solitude, discard Windswept Teeth. Sit on this Endurance. Alright, Omnath. I'm ready for you. Very Time Raveler. I'm not upset about that. Very get in. I think I want a plus. Yeah, plussing lets me, just gives me more options. If they have Show and Tell this turn, and I guess even if they do have Archon of Cruelty, I can sacrifice Endurance, not to Fairy, then bounce the Archon. So I have Graveyard and face-up object both covered here. They're one away from just casting Atraxa, which I don't like. I could flash an Endurance, attack, bounce my own Endurance, be set up for another round. I don't think I like that. I like Mystical Dispute. Plus to Fairy. Next turn I can bounce and then still have another bounce ready. I will do the Endurance play if it's still available to me. Maybe I Endurance myself here if somebody gets Enduranced. I do have a number of exciting cards in my graveyard, but I'm also an Uro deck, so no, I'm not going to do that. Green, colorless in the end step. Putting a bunch of lands, putting another Show and Tell back into their deck isn't nothing. But that was a lot of lands and Dark Rituals that I don't think are what they're looking for here. Back with Endurance. To Fairy, pick it up. Deafening Silence, cool. That makes storming out a lot harder for them. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I will play my land because that gives me double spell, even though it makes me softer against Archon. Not going to do the Endurance poke this turn. 2. Okay. Now Endurance has a job to do. Doesn't mean I'm ready to just tear it off, though. Going for Faithless Looting, they're on this hyper slow plan. Hey, my guy. I'm going to cast Omnath and make sure that I can still cast Endurance. And yeah, Misty can fetch appropriate land. Okay, a win condition emerges. I will gain my life points here. And I can gain 4 and make a pile of mana on their turn at instant speed. I could also just wait on my fetches until they're doing damage, lowering the clock. They have a show and tell, and they have enough mana to pay for my Mystical Dispute. I guess this just resolves. Not anything else going on here. Put in Endurance. You have Archon, which is the better of the possible ones. I am going to Endurance their graveyard. Sacrifice Endurance and discard Mystical Dispute. Fairy bounces Archon, and then we're back into where we were a second ago. Go. Give them the business. Bounce your Archon. Oh, alright, I'm just Teferi flooded now. It's not a bad thing to be. And attack you with Omnath. And then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can replay Omnath, leaving up 1 fetch land. I'll fetch. Grab. Does this matter? I'll get the basic. Then 1, 2 Teferi. 2 Teferi. Pick up Omnath. Do I want to float the mana here? Yeah, I guess I do. This gives me the most options of good cards I could draw. Tropical Island. Float 4 mana. Pick up Omnath, draw a card. Cast Omnath, draw a card. Surgical Extraction, pretty good card. And Endurance, also pretty good card. That was a good turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're very close to casting this Archon. They've now cast this Archon. Luckily, I can discard or sacrifice Teferi with that, and I won't really miss it. Discard Surgical Extraction, because Endurance is better at doing the same thing. First quarter, fascinating. Start with Teferi, as we do. Bounce this Archon. Okay, Uro's in the mix now. Ghost Quarter, gain 4 life. If I take out their blue, they probably have another swamp, but this takes them farther away from being able to hardcast Archon, and they normally don't have 2 blue sources for the purposes of show and tell. So now they're going to have to get that Archon back into their graveyard while casting 1 spell a turn and then reanimate it through Endurance. And they can't load a spell show and tell because that's 2 spells in a turn. Brief. Okay, I'm going to Endurance my opponent here. They're going to take my Uro and be pretty bummed about the result. That's my plan. Endurance, get in there. I am going to target nobody with the ability. I just took out that blue source. I'm not going to give it back to them. And my graveyard is stocked for this Uro, who I'm about to escape, I hope. There's a good chance this Bloodstained Mire just doesn't even get anything anymore. Animate Deading, My Solitude. That makes some sense. That's your spell for the turn. You get to remove Omnath, but then Uro's showing up. If this Teferi gets up to 3, I get to bounce My Solitude and go up thousands of cards. Force of Vigor, that also kills the Solitude. Green, blue, blue. Removing all the lands from my graveyard, I boarded out my Loam, and if I target myself with Endurance, I would like good cards to go in there. Leaving the fetch land in my hand. There's more Omnaths in here somewhere. In the beatdown. Just checking, my Loam was boarded out. They're casting Faithless Looting, that's your spell for the turn. Discarded the Archon. And they conceded. We're on the board with modern cards exclusively against one of the most busted combo decks in Legacy. Count it. Let's go. The Command Tower software by Eminence Gaming is perfect for hosting TCG events. It features easy-to-create event registration for 1v1 and 4-player Swiss structured tournaments. Event management has never been so simple, and it's web-based, so there's no download required. Get access for just $5 at eminence.events/subscribe. I'm on the play for round 4. I am going to mulligan this one lander. I've learned. Here we go. Here we go. This beautiful 4-lander with Light from the Loam. I'm in. I'm going to bottom one of the fetch lands. With Loam, I can get Reckless, and Ghost Quarter might actually be good. Who knows? Land go. Opponent's also on 6. Opponent said, good luck, YouTube clan. Everybody say hi to Momo321. Alright, well, let's hope they're not a Stifle deck. Do I want to fetch basics? Kind of do. Blue, green, cast Loam. Good chance this Polluted Delta deck is not about to wasteland me, but I guess they could be like Death Shadow or something, and maybe they will wasteland me immediately. This plan feels so much better than everything else we've done so far in this league. I think Loam needs to be in higher quantities in the deck. A Brainstorm from the opponent off of a basic island. Flooded Strand. Not Dredging Loam. Fury's in the mix. Cool. Now I'm just hoping this is a fair matchup. If they just suddenly cast Doomsday or whatever, we're pretty dead. Cool. Thoughtseize. My thoughts. Opponent looking at my hand like I thought we were playing Legacy. This Ghost Quarter would be much better as Wasteland, but guess what? That card's not in Modern. Took Fury, not Omnath. Oh, we're show and tell. Okay. What ways am I dead? Put in Omnath. You get Grizzlebrand. Not going to Dredge Loam. Okay. I can get to 8 mana, but it's not 8 different colors for prismatic ending considerations, fortunately. Burrow's a banger. Okay, so I will play 1,000 lands this turn. Here's one. Fetch for something that makes a ton of colors. What are my outs here? Teferi, Solitude. I guess I'll start with Volcanic Island because that's not really part of the colors I need. That doesn't even make sense. What am I even saying? I don't know what I'm saying right now. Here's Uro. That's what I'm saying. And another land. Not Dredge Loam. Swept Heath. Opponent takes 4. And then Uro goes to the graveyard. This doesn't keep going, unfortunately. Could try to put Uro into play here, like fetch, then all my fetch lands are gone, but I think that's fine. Tropical Island, fetch. I didn't need to fetch this one. God, I'm just spewing right now. Just don't even know where I am. What day is it? What's happening? Yeah, I should have kept that fetch land in hand. I don't know what's going on right now. Oh no, I needed it for the 5th card. Okay. I'm playing correctly. Just lost track for a second. It's an unfortunate reality. It was not a punt. Uro's on the stack. Do you have force backup to fight through this? Going to 3. Oh my god. Bolts in my deck. Uro's in play. Put in Ghost Quarter. That's not even good though. So, oh wait, yeah, Ghost Quarter casts Leyline Binding. Yeah, that's good. Never mind. I was about to say I could play Ghost Quarter and Ghost Quarter myself to get Omnath triggers. I had a white floating, I didn't need to do that, but I played around Days, and they just didn't force when they could have. So who knows what's going on right now. Oh my god. Omnath plus Uro. That was the appeal of this deck, and we've lived up to its potential. Okie dokie. Flusterstorm, Dress Down, Mystical Dispute, all happening. I guess Deafening Silence should happen. Just literally anything to slow down my combo opponent. Force of Vigor answers Sneak Attack or Omniscience. Surgical, if I counter something, can remove them. I guess I'll take any puncher's chance I can get in this battle between formats. Prismatic Ending also gets Sneak Attack in this matchup because I have access to all 5 colors. Lightning Bolt, probably worse. Fury, not that exciting. Light from the Loam, an essential cog in the machine, although it's pretty bad here. Yeah, maybe my bolts just have to go entirely and down to 1 Prismatic Ending. Durant's not great. It is a flash threat, though. Teferi can answer stuff. This is how it's going. Okay, I mean, this is basically the best hand I could ask for with my deck. By getting turn 1, pedal, show and tell. Thoughtseize. Yeah, okay. I have 2 of the card that I care most about here. I guess they probably don't have sneak attack if they have black mana, and I'm pretty sure they Thoughtseized me last game too. Yeah, they did. They did not see this 3rd Flusterstorm though. My hand is the same now as before they Thoughtseized it. Okay. Just go. Do I want to invest in this Rockman Triome to try to bridge into 3s next turn? I think I do. Got Flusterstorms. If they have Surgical Extraction, that's a huge beating. Just extract all my Flusters. They might be going to discard intentionally to try to reanimate something. I'm going to go for Deafening Silence here. Start putting the hooks in. They played a land, which means that maybe they actually had a genuine one-lander this whole time. Not going to fight over Preordains. Top bottom the Preordain. Basic Island. They know about the Windswept Heath, so I kind of want to use it. I'm going to fetch Basic Forest here and play Teferi. And I want to just draw a card. I think with the 2 Flusters in hand, just cashing in my card here is a reasonable play. They can't win a counter war. They can't Thoughtseize me, then show and tell. All of those things are turned off by silence, and I need to present a clock now before they work through this with their 8-card hand. Zuvin Drifter, shit. I should have saved my Teferi to plan for this one. You have Grizzlebrand on top? Nope, okay. Well, I might be dead. On Solitude. Too easy. Plus Teferi. And Zuvin Drifter. Go ahead, take a look. I'm going to pass here. If Drifter becomes Grizzlebrand in combat, they can draw a bunch of cards. Any other thing I can just pick off. What I'm worried about here is if I pick this thing off in combat, and then they just cast Show and Tell from their hand that I can't interact with. I'm going to let this trigger resolve. Love. Teferi at 2 sucks. I can protect Solitude with Flusterstorm in the future. Okay. I'm going to let Teferi go here rather than risk getting Show and Told. And if they cast like a Ponder or something, I know that I'm safe for the turn. Then I can Solitude their creature and go nuts. They're just starting to work through the Flusterstorm that they know about. Now I'm holding a Flusterstorm they don't know about and a Solitude. And I'm going to untap into the mana to do both. The Teferi situation. Okay, I'm going to cast Teferi. Save this Solitude for possible Show and Tell situations. Bounce the Drifter. Find Endurance that I cannot cast with the mana that I have up. Thoughtseize. Disappointing. Well, they're going to find another Flusterstorm here. Taking Solitude. That does answer the Drifter. I'm going to leave my fetch land unfetched in case I draw Omnath. And I immediately draw Omnath. This is how we do it. Big ol' Omnath Daddy here. Rest down, chillin'. I can Life from the Loam at instant speed, thanks to Teferi. Hit all my land drops if they don't make me do something else. Drifter is back. This becomes something scary. I can dress it down before combat. Unnecessary. Now I'm going to start digging with Loam. Gain 4 life here. By digging with Loam, I mean hitting my next 2 land drops. I'm not actually dredging. Solitude. They just keep coming. You can't stop me. Is this going to become a good blocker? Or do I get to attack? Get to attack. Nice. Now I can Solitude the Drifter and Flusterstorm a spell. I'm worried about very little that I'm aware of. But they know about the Flusterstorm now. They can also see the top card of that deck. So that shuffle that they just did could have just been value shuffle. This Brainstorm's going to try to set them up. Then I'm going to clip the Drifter. And I have lethal. I attack for 7. Omnath does another 4. That's exactly 11, which is their life total after I Solitude their creature. They've already cast their spell for this turn. I guess they could have spells on my turn. They're going to be a stickler about it. I'll give them 1 second of False Hope here, and then Solitude their creature. Blammo. Get rid of this. Go to 11. Have 11 damage on board. Drew Uro in case I needed more damage. Attack for 7, put you to 4, fetch twice, GG. Tundra, take a bunch of mana, fetch. Taiga, the lethal Taiga, Taiga King. Bang! That was an exciting match. I said in the deck tech that I think we might have a reasonable grinding chance against fair decks, and we're probably going to get dumpstered by combo. But we've beaten 2 combo decks and lost to 2 fair decks now, so maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's go to the final round where somehow, miraculously, we have a positive record on the line. For the absolute best Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, check out the link in the video description to coalesceapparel.shop, and be sure to use the code BoshNRoll for 10% off when you check out. On the play in this positive record match, I am not going to keep Endot the Dryome and a handful of spells that it doesn't cast. Okay, I mean, Rockrun Triumph plus Valk doesn't cast Loam even if I draw it. I'm going to keep and send. I feel like Flusterstorm is the legacy card in my hand that I probably want to hold on to. Yeah, I'm going to bottom Fury and hold on to the dream of casting Omnath. And I'm going to lead on Bulk so I can hold up Flusterstorm for a turn. My deck doesn't do anything on 2 mana, so having to play Rockrun Triumph tap next turn is not a big deal. Opponent said in the chat, I don't play a very fair deck, so sorry for the video. No, I've learned that that is where this deck has a chance. Chalice of the Void, sure. And if they try to Echo here, I'm going to BTFO them. I can even answer a Hull Breacher. I don't have a good plan for Karn, and I do think Teferi is a better play than just randomly Ghost Quartering. I think I would randomly Wasteland here, but that's a different card. Where they play Karn, and I immediately wish that I had kept Fury. Chalice on 2, sure. I don't think there's a single card in my deck. Light from the Loam. I can't Light from the Loam with that Chalice in play. Okay, I'll save my Ghost Quarter, and I will fetch a green source here. I'll get the Trop. Yeah, when in doubt, Trop it out. That's my motto. And I'm going to bounce the Chrome Mox. That denies an actual mana source. Everything else is just sort of nothing. Yeah, I'll send your Chrome Mox back. All right, I can answer a Karn now. We're getting closer to a universe where this game is competitive. And I can Ghost Quarter myself to play Omnath in an emergency. This is back with the same card under it. They found Karn on the turn where I found an answer to Karn. I hope they minus. Did minus. What do we got? Are we Lion's Eye Diamond getting rid of my hand, or what's the play here? Metal Coating. That's fine because it doesn't do anything if Karn's not in play. Plus Teferi. I regrettably have to pitch my Omnath here to Fury to clear the Karn. You can filter colors through a Ghost Quarter, but you can't net mana. Like, I could play Omnath here and hope the card I draw is red, but I don't play that many red cards, and I'm not a maniac. I'm not in the risk-taking business against this deck right now. Quarter Karn. And they can't cast this Liquid Metal Coating anyway because of their own Chalice on 2. So I'm fine just chilling here. My other option is play the other Teferi, bounce Chrome Mox again, and try to set them back even more. I actually will take the redraw on that. Yeah, talk myself into it. Hitting the next land is a big deal. Hitting a threat now that my Omnath is gone. Bounce Chrome Mox again. Land is here. I can cast Solitude in the future. Chrome Mox is back. Has so far eaten 3 cards, including an Echo of Eons. Oops. That card's countered. It's in the graveyard now. And Day's Undoing. Flusterstorm that. The original Flusterstorm is countered, but the Storm copies are not. Hilariously, if they had not cast Liquid Metal Coating, Storm would be 1 lower, and they would have 2 mana, and they could have paid for that Flusterstorm. Not trying to rub it in, just all these decisions matter. That's all I'm saying. And blue, green, colorless, Uro. Get a win condition going. Dramatic Ending. This is not a card I can cast in a way that gets through these chalices on this turn. I can pitch it to Solitude, though, if necessary. If I fetch my Indatha here, I'm fetching something. Let's do it. I have blue, blue, green, green. Yep, Indatha Triumph does what I need it to. Can't surprise Hull Breach me because I have Teferi. Blue, green, green. Exile all the cards from my graveyard. I'm saving this Ghost Quarter in case they're a Urza Saga deck, which is possible, perhaps even likely. I don't think turning this Ancient Tomb into basic Island is going to meaningfully impact their ability to play the game. But I do think taking out an Urza Saga is huge. Hull Breacher's in. I have tons of answers to that ready. I also would not have been able to Solitude here if I had Ghost Quartered last turn, so all the good decisions just stacking up here. And we're now over the hump, and I'm not worried about a whole lot. Nice. Okay, beat another Legacy combo deck. Mystical Dispute, huge here. Force of Vigor, Collector, oof. Interested in all of that. Deafening Silence, yeah. That's pretty bad against Chalice, but I'm bringing in my answers to Chalice. They asked in the chat if I'm testing the March Elf, which I assume they mean the new Nissa, which is in the modern build of this deck. I actually decided that Nissa wasn't good in this deck, at least not the Legacy version. The card is a 4-mana, I think 3/3 maybe? I don't know its stats, but it's a 4-mana thing that landfall, make a mana of any color, second landfall, flip cards off the top of your deck till you hit an elf or elemental and put it in your hand. And I just decided that a 4-mana, it might be 3, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but whatever it costs, it was too much in a format with Karakas, and I decided not to do that. Fury's good, Solitude's good, Teferi's good, Dress Down probably good, Life from the Loam. I do like the idea of bolting a Hull Breacher, and a Karn. But Bolt is pretty bad against Chalice. Prismatic Ending is better against Hull Breacher, but I need the Prismatic Endings to remove the Chalice before I can kill a Hull Breacher. Dress Down is good if they're a Saga deck. I'm bringing in Brotherhood's End, which is good against things that I know they do have. I guess I just have to cut these Lightning Bolts and hope that I can survive a Hull Breacher situation. I have my disputes. Fury's great. Loam. Alright, Loam's out. They're willing to Chalice on 2. And I gotta cut one more thing here. Gotta win the game somehow. But Uro just looks so questionable against the Hull Breacher Narset deck. Okay, this is what I'm doing. Another 10-card sideboard situation. I will keep this hand. It doesn't work if my opponent goes off on turn 1. But barely anything in my deck does. Okay, I'm going to fetch a white source and play Deafening Silence. White source that I want is probably Savannah. Yeah, that gets Uro going. Okay, that just resolved without an argument. Saga confirmed. I boarded out my Dress Down, didn't I? Yep, sure did. I have the Brotherhood's End still. I suspected they were a Saga deck, just didn't see enough evidence game 1. Talk myself out of it. But they might not even need the Saga if I don't spend the time doing Deafening Silence stuff. It's really hard to tell. Face up, Hull Breacher, you got it. I'm going to Prismatic Ending the Chrome Mox. It is a target that I can have right now. That might slow down the Saga. It will certainly make the construct smaller when they get here. I got to work my way through this one step at a time. And remove Hull Breacher next turn. That will unfortunately tap me out of Flusterstorm, but without Hull Breacher in play, I'm less worried about that one. City of Traders was their land. Okay. Red, blue. Try to go Hull Breacher. Force pitching, backup Hull Breacher. Okay. So they valued making a Saga token more than they valued an extra card in their hand. Because they could have just let that resolve and played another Hull Breacher. This does make sense. And I'm now in a bunch of trouble because I needed Uro to stabilize against these creatures. Unless I find a Solitude very quickly. Let's see if they tutor Lion's Eye Diamond to combo off, or if they're getting Soul Guide Lantern so I can't stabilize. Ox Opal to keep playing the game is reasonable as well. One card left in their hand, but a ton of damage on board. I am just dead on the board. Need to do something about that. Solitude, unfortunately, I can gain 3 life with Uro, but I lose 2 of it because that grows the constructs by 2. And I can't draw into a white card because Hullbreacher's in play. Yeah, I'm just dead there. Okay, Dress Downs are coming back in. We've now seen the evidence. The Lightning Bolts against the Hullbreacher 2. Maybe Brotherhood's End sucks. Or does Teferi suck? Teferi's kind of medium. You know they're a 4 stack and everything, but still. Maybe 1 Lightning Bolt. I still have all my... No, because Lightning Bolt's so good if I can clear Chalice, which I do have. I am heavily dedicated to doing things that kill Chalice. I have 8 of them to their 4 Chalices. I'm going to shave a Fury, even though I don't feel good about it. I'm just running out of space for the cards I want in my deck. Down to 1 Teferi, 2 Furies, and then a couple of Bolts back in. I'll keep this hand. Turn 2 Collector Oof on the play. Not bad. Play Misty Rainforest. This one can get Indatha Triome if nothing happens, and it can get Volcanic Island if something happens. Uh-oh. This is not what I wanted to happen. I've seen a bunch of Flusterstorms out of me. Hopefully they don't just shove here at all. Chalice on 1. Disappointing. Okay. I'm going to have to Collector Oof the crap out of this opponent right now. You get the Indath. Oh, I can't fetch Volcanic Island. Uh-oh. I guess I'll get Rockran Triome then and play Savannah. Okay, yeah, I have the wrong half accessible in my hand. I can't get all 5 basic types here. I drew the Volcanic Island. Should have just fetched the Triome. Collector Oof. Make it so, buddy. Cards in their hand. It would have to be Force Blue card for me to care about it. Next turn, I can remove Chalice and kill Hullbreacher. If they can even cast any spells, which would be difficult from their position. I'm going to fetch the Indatha Triome here. I now have all card types, or all land types. I can take out anything at instant speed and then also bolt something else. Busted Sideboard Bullet. Carry me home. I am not going to just fire off the binding, though. What's the rush? They haven't done anything. Still can't cast Hullbreacher with what they have. Okay, now I am going to bind. Take out the Chalice, because this... I'm now untapping into 5 mana, which is the spells in my hand. And if I draw my 1 up to Teferi and bounce Leyline Binding, then there's a Chalice in play on 0, which kind of locks them out of the game. I am just going to shove one of these Solitudes and start bashing. I want to get this game over quicker. I still have 2 more answers to Hullbreacher in my hand. Target nothing. Now they're dying in 5-point chunks. Mystical Dispute. Oh my god. Just how he drew it up. 3 answers to Hullbreacher in my hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My opponent is dead here. And they're conceding. A positive record. Rallying in the back half of the league. The first 2 matches were just a horrifying situation of playing against fair wasteland decks and missing land drops like crazy, which there are certainly deck building issues involved in that I would fix by maybe playing another land, go to 26 and a second loam, just really respect it. But then the back half of the league, our sideboard came in strong against 3 combo decks in a row. The opposite of a BoshNRoll normal league. Normally I beat the bear decks and then just get bricked by Reanimator or something. And that is not what happened. The exact opposite happened. So I'm pretty happy with that part of the experiment. I think that proves, though, that a good sideboard is worth match wins. which I don't know that anyone needed to be convinced of that, anyone who's really played tournament Magic. But a well-constructed sideboard will cover for a poorly constructed main deck. And we definitely have some practical experience in that regard now. I don't know that 4x to Fairy is where we want to be. This is a flex slot. This could be something else. We might not need 4 Ending and 4 Bolt. Maybe pick which one is better, but they do each pitch to relevant elementals. I want another Loam for sure. And maybe we rebuild this to be an Ice Fang Coatl type setup, so our deck actually has something meaningful to do on 2 mana. There's a lot of ways this could go, but luckily it doesn't have to really go anywhere because this was a thought experiment about playing exclusively modern card pool cards in Legacy. And we did do that. We did show how Fire design has a lot of muscle to it. We also saw how early game design mistakes like Wasteland can cut the wind out of anyone, no matter how busted their cards are on rate. You can't put them on the stack, you're not going to win. Good lessons learned here, both about the new cards and about the old cards. Abe, thank you for this fun challenge. I'm going to link both of the decks that I built, even though I didn't play the Splinter Twin one. If anyone wants to look at that and enjoy it, that was my first pass at that. That'll be in the video description as well. Of course, this one's here. They're all available on Moxfield. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the Patreon, and I'll see you next time.